Good afternoon, dear students. I am Vidya Rani, your English teacher. So, children, today I am live for you all to take up live YouTube English class. So, children, before we start with this class, I would like to put some questions to you. Like, children, right now, from 10th July, you are going to have online unit test, isn't it, children? Yes, you're going to have online unit test. So for that, you must be preparing certain things. You must be studying hard so that you get 10 out of 10 in unit test, isn't it, children? So, preparation is very much needed when you start with any work. Suppose you start with a new work, isn't it? If you start with a journey, we all prepare some certain things we need while we go out for journey. Likewise, this chapter today, what am I going to discuss? That is chapter 1 from Gulmoha book, that is Be Prepared. The chapter's name is what, children? Be Prepared, isn't it? Okay, so what I had asked you questions before, this chapter is all about it. Okay, this chapter is chapter 1, Be Prepared, written by Ruskin Bond. Okay, now who is Ruskin Bond? I will explain you. I will tell you about Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is one of the best loved storyteller. Okay, most of the time of his life spent in he has spent in Dehradun. Okay, so he used to love writing about hills. He used to love writing about childhood days. Okay, about animals also. Okay, so some of the popular work of Ruskin Bond is The Room on the Roof. Okay, first popular work is what? The Room on the Roof. Okay, and the next one is Our Tree Still Grows in Dehra. Since he is living in Dehra, so he used to write about Dehradun, about hills. Okay, children? So now you came to know about the author. In this chapter 1, Be Prepared, he discusses about his childhood days. His childhood days when he was like you all, children. So let us start with this story. I hope you all will enjoy this story, isn't it, children? So now just put your fingers, children. Where am I reading? Slowly, I will be explaining you about the chapter. Okay? Here, Ruskin Bond is the character that is with the name Bond. Now the characters in this story is Bond, who is a small boy. Okay? Now the next character is Mr. Oliver. Who is the next character, children? Mr. Oliver. That is Scout Master. Okay, children? Now, the third is the bear. Okay? And the fourth characters are Scout boys. Okay, children? So, let us start with this story. Be prepared. That is the boys scout motto. But I never seem to be well prepared for anything, be it an exam or a journey. So, how did I survive as a boy scout? Now, Ruskin Bond is telling about himself that since he had joined that Boy Scout, but how did he survive? Because he never used to prepare anything. Prepare anything. Whatever work was given, he never used to be prepared for that. So he is telling that I will be telling you this Bond, this Ruskin Bond is telling that how did I survive being a scout boy? Because the motto means what, children? Aim, okay? Aim, the aim of the Boy Scout was to be prepared, always to be ready. But since Bond was never prepared for anything, then he's telling that how did he survive himself? How did he survive means what, children? Existed in that Boys Scout. Okay? It seems a rumor had gone around the junior school that I was a good cook. I had never cooked anything in my life, but I had spent a lot of time in the tuck shop making suggestions to and encouraging Chimpu, the tuck shop owner, to make more better samosas, jalebis, tikkis and pakoras. With the qualification, I won a cookery badge and was put in charge of our Boy Scout troops' supply of rations. Now I will be explaining you what is this paragraph saying. See, it was a rumor in the whole school that who was a great cook, children? Bond. This Bond was a great cook. Okay? This Bond was a great cook, but this rumor was there. Rumor means what, children? Something that is said about a person or a thing which is unusually true. It's not true. Okay? So this was a rumor in whole school that he was a great cook. Why it was a rumor spread in whole school? Because always he used to go to the tuck shop. Tuck shop means what, children? Tuck shop means a small shop. Here I have written down the meanings. Okay? Few difficult words, meanings I have written down. Tuck shop means small shop where you can get bakery things, cakes, jalebis, samosas. He used to spend a lot of time in that tuck shop, and the owner of that tuck shop was who, children? He was Chimpu. His name was what, children? Chimpu. And he used to encourage him to make better samosas, okay, jalebis, tikkis and pakoras. So children, with the qualification, with all these, what was going around, he won a what, children? A cookery badge. He was awarded with a cookery badge. And later on, he was made the in charge of the whole Boy Scout troop as a ration supplier. Okay? Ration means what, children? Day-to-day things we eat, isn't it? That is called ration, food materials. Okay, so he was made the in charge of the food materials, whatever was provided to whom, children? To the scout troop. There was about 20 of us in our troop. During the summer break, our scout master, Mr. Oliver, took us on a campaign expeditions to the mountain. Okay. Now, how many children were there? There were 20 children. Okay. In that whole troop, that Boy Scout troop, how many children were there, children? 20 children. Okay. And they were taken out by whom, children? Mr. Oliver, who was the scout master. Okay. They were taken by him. He was the scout in charge, okay? Scout master. And they were taken to the campaigning expeditions to the mountains. Since they were selected as a scout boys, they were taken out to the hilly areas for expeditions. For a few miles outside Shimla. What was the name of the place, children? Shimla. Okay. They were taken out, okay, to Shimla. The first night we were put to work, peeling potatoes, skinning onions, selling peas and pounding masalas. When the ingredients were ready, I was asked what should be done with them. Okay. Now, since these children reached to the place, okay, the first night, how did they spend? They were given with a work, okay. What work was it? Peeling potatoes. Peeling potatoes means what, children? Taking out the skin of the potato, okay. And skinning onions. Skinning onions means what, children? Taking out the skin of the onions, because your mother must be doing all these things to prepare vegetables, isn't it, children? The same thing was given to these boys, okay. And pounding masalas. Pounding masalas means what, children? Pounding means grinding. Mother is using mixer grinder, isn't it, children, to grind masalas. The same thing was given to the boys to prepare vegetables. So they need to prepare all these things for it. And after they had done with all this work, it was asked to whom, children? Bond. That boy, okay, since he had won the cookery batch and he was the ration in charge of ration supply. So he was asked to what to do with those things what was prepared by those children. Put everything in the big dekchi. I ordered, pour half a tin of ghee over the lot. Add some nettle leaves and cook for half an hour. Okay, now what was the instruction given by Bond? Bond said, put everything in a dekchi. Dekchi is what, children? A vessel. Okay, okay, that is a type of utensil in which the things are cooked. Okay, I ordered. Now this Bond ordered to pour a half a tin of ghee, okay, in that very dekchi where all the ingredients what the children had prepared was put into that dekchi along with a half a tin of ghee, and they added nettle leaves. It is a type of leaf which adds flavor to the cooked material, children. Like you must be knowing about bay leaf. Your mother must be using that leaf. That same type of leaf is also known as like same thing, like that is called what? Nettle leaves. And this Bond said to cook it for half an hour. When this was done, everyone had a taste and agreed that the dish lacked something. More salt, I suggested. But the dish still lacked something. Add a cup of sugar, I ordered, and a bottle of tomato sauce. After cooking this for half an hour, this ingredient, everyone started tasting it. Okay? Everyone started tasting it and agreed. They agreed that the dish was lacking something. Something was missing in that dish. Okay? So it was not tasting good. Then what did Bond suggest? He suggested to add more salt. But still the dish was not tasting well. So now Bond ordered to put a cup of sugar in it, and he ordered to put a bottle of tomato sauce in it. Okay? As he had told earlier, children, that he is never prepared for anything. So whatever ingredients were there, he started mixing it in that. Okay? But the dish was a great success. Even Mr. Oliver, who had no idea what had gone into it, enjoyed it. Now, finally, the dish was prepared and it was tasting wonderful, children. You won't believe whatever things were given in it, added to it, it really made that dish very tasty. And Mr. Oliver praised that dish and he said that even Mr. Oliver, who had no idea what had gone into it, enjoyed it. Mr. Oliver couldn't find out what was added to that very dish, but he enjoyed it. He enjoyed that dish very much. What is this called? He asked. The Bond Bhujia, said one of the boys. I had earned my cookery badge. Okay, now Mr. Oliver was very happy to taste that dish. Okay, so he asked Mr. Bond. Okay, so he asked that Bond that what was the dish called. So one of the scout boy named that dish what, children? Bond Bhujia. Remember that. What was the dish cooked the first night by the children? That was Bond Bhujia. And that earned a cookery badge again. For whom, children? For this Bond. Okay? The next day, Mr. Oliver told us he would teach us tracking, taking a half-hour head start. He walked into the forest, leaving a trail of broken twigs, pine cones, and chestnuts behind him. We were to follow the trail until we found him. Now, the next day, Mr. Oliver started giving them the task. The first day, the task was over. Everyone had cooked delicious dish. And now, next day, they were assigned with a different work. That was to track Mr. Oliver, who would start before, half an hour before. And on the leaves, on the way, he was leaving what? Marks, so that those children could track those marks and follow Mr. Oliver up till where he had reached. Okay, we were to follow the trail until we found it. On the way, what was left on the way by Mr. Oliver? That was broken twigs, okay, small branches of trees, pine cones, and chestnut. Behind he left and he started walking, and after that, half an hour after that, the boys were supposed to track that way. Okay, unfortunately, we were not good trackers. We did follow Mr. Oliver's trail some way into the forest, but then we were distracted by a pool of clear water. Now, unfortunately, these scout boys were new, isn't it, children? So they couldn't track Mr. Oliver where he had gone, and they got indulged into something else. They got interested in something else, what they saw on the way. That was what, children? That was a pool of clear water. Got it, children? That was, they got distracted with a pool of clear water. Now just see page number 3, the topmost part of your page. We jumped in and romped about, enjoying the sunshine. Romped means what, children? Played with lot of joy and energy. They enjoyed to the fullest. Okay? These children enjoyed to the fullest. They did not pay heed what duty they were given, and they started enjoying in that, okay, that pool. Okay, and they enjoyed the sunshine what was coming in the forest. Hours later, feeling hungry, we returned to our campsite and prepared the evening meal. It was burnt Gujia again, but with a few variations. Now, playing after playing in that sunshine, playing in that pool, they got hungry. They were small children like you all. Okay, so they got hungry and they planned to return to the camp where it was, and they prepared their evening meal. Okay, it was evening by that time, and they prepared the evening meal. And what was the dish again prepared by these children? Okay, by these children, that was pond bhujia. Okay, that was what, children? That was pond bhujia. But little bit difference was there in this time and that time. Bhujia, what they had prepared, little bit variation, difference was there in the dish. They had added few more things into that, and it gave a different taste. It was growing dark, and we were beginning to worry about Mr. Oliver's whereabouts when he leapt into the camp. He had waited for us at the far end of the forest for a couple of hours. Then he decided to return, but got lost in the gathering gloom. Village folk finally helped him back to the camp. He was very angry and made us return all our batches, including my cookery batch. Okay? It was growing dark, and everyone, all the children started, these boys started worrying about Mr. Oliver. Where was he? But what was Mr. Oliver doing? He was waiting for these children to reach there, till where he had reached. But these children never went, okay, there, because they started playing in the middle of the way, okay. And for waiting for couple of hours, this Mr. Oliver, what did he do? He started returning back. But in the mid of the way, he got lost, children. Why did he get lost? Okay, because it was growing dark. Evening was setting and everything was growing dark. So Mr. Oliver couldn't get to the place. Now, village people helped him to reach to the camp. He was very angry when he reached to the camp and asked all the boys to return the cookery batch. Whatever batch was given was asked by Mr. Oliver to return it. An hour later, when we were all preparing to get into our sleeping bags for the night, Mr. Oliver called out, "Where's the dinner?" Now this Mr. Oliver said, since it was evening and it was about the time, now it was night and everyone was getting into their bed. Now Mr. Oliver asked for the dinner. Who was supposed to prepare the dinner, children? Bond was supposed to prepare the dinner. But they had all eaten that evening. Whatever meal they had prepared, they had all eaten. So he asked, "Where is the dinner?" "We have had ours," said one of the boys. Everything is finished, sir." Now this boy said that we had our evening meal we had prepared and we had ours and everything is finished. Everything is finished. Now this Mr. Oliver got angry and he commanded, "Where is Bond? He is the cook. Bond, get up and make an omelette." "I can't, sir," he said. That "I can't." Why he couldn't? Because already he had prepared with the dish. Okay, and what was the order given by the Mr. Oliver? What was the order given by Mr. Oliver? That was to prepare omelette. Then Mr. Oliver said, "Why cannot? You have my badge. Not allowed to cook without it, sir. Scout's rule." Now this Bond said, what, children? This Bond said that I'm not supposed to prepare dish because you had already taken a cookery batch. Okay? I have never heard of such a rule, but you can take your batches, all of you. We return to school tomorrow. Now, Mr. Oliver said that I will return your batches. Now, tomorrow we have to return to the school. Mr. Oliver returned to his tent in a huff. He was very angry. In a huff means what, children? With great anger. But I relented and made him a grand omelette. Now, the thing what he had said no to prepare that omelette, now this Bond prepared a grand omelette for whom, children? For Mr. Oliver, and garnishing it, decorating on the top of it was what, children? That was dandelion leaves. And actually, dandelion leaves is what, children? A type of leaf. Okay? Never had such an omelette before, Mr. Oliver said. Mr. Oliver said what, children? That he never had such a grand omelette before, isn't it? Would you like to have another, sir? Now, Bond asked Mr. Oliver that would you like to have another? Okay, tomorrow, Bond, tomorrow. We will breakfast early morning since they were about to return to the school. So they said that we will have early in the morning the breakfast you prepare for us. But we had to break up our camp in the early hours of the next morning. In the next morning, they had to break up their camp. Means what? Move from that very place. A bear had wandered into our camp, entered the tent where our stores were kept, and created havoc with all our provisions, even rolling our biggest dekchi down the hillside. Now, at the end, when they were taking out, when they were moving from that place, in the camp, what entered, children? A bear entered. Okay, entered into the camp, and whatever stores were kept, okay, it created a great havoc. Since it entered, it did not see whatever things were kept. It created a great destruction, and whatever food supplies were there, everything was here and there, thrown here and there, and that bear even rolled that big dekchi in what they used to prepare their dish. Okay? In the confusion and uproar that followed, the bear entered Mr. Oliver's tent. Now that bear entered whose tent? That bear entered Mr. Oliver's tent. And it came out entangled in his dressing gown, then made off towards the forest, a comical sight in its borrowed clothes. Now, when it came out of that tent, children, it entangled, means it caught up with whose gown, children? That was Mr. Oliver's gown. When it came out of that tent, it was all entangled, caught up with Mr. Oliver's gown. And though we were a troop of brave little scouts, we thought it better to let the bear keep its gown. Although, now Bond is telling what, children? That although they were a brave little scouts they were, but they did not disturb that bear. They let that bear do whatever it felt like and let that bear go away with Mr. Oliver's gown. Okay, children, here we come to the end of this English session. Hope you all enjoyed this story. Kindly go through this story, children, okay, and prepare for your first unit test.